Why Liu Bei could not unite the land. A difficult beginning and lack of resources. Liu Bei, one of the key figures during the Three Kingdoms period in ancient China, faced numerous challenges in his quest to unify the land. Unlike his contemporaries, Cao and Quan, who were born into influential and wealthy families, Liu Bei's origins were far more humble. He was born into a family without wealth or political influence, which made his early political and military endeavors incredibly difficult. In his youth, Liu Bei lived with his mother and had to work hard to support himself. Despite his ambition to create a peaceful and unified empire, he had to start from scratch, relying on his ability to forge strong relationships with capable individuals such as Quan and Zhang Fei, who became his sworn brothers and loyal allies. This difficult start meant that it took Liu Bei a long time to build a strong enough army to challenge his rivals, and even then, his forces were small and unstable compared to those of Cao and Quan. Had Liu Bei been born into a wealthy and politically influential family, his path to unifying the land might have been much smoother. Wealth and influence would have provided him with the resources to build a strong army and effectively manage territories from the beginning. This would have significantly bolstered the strength of his Shu Han kingdom. With more resources, Liu Bei could have created a stronger and better equipped army, hired skilled soldiers, and trained his troops more effectively. Additionally, he could have attracted more talented military and political leaders to his cause, as people of talent often gravitate toward leaders who can offer stability and resources. More resources would have also enabled Liu Bei to expand his territories and control them more efficiently. He could have established a stable and effective government in the lands he controlled, allowing him to gather additional manpower and resources for his campaigns against his enemies. If Liu Bei had started with wealth and influence, forming alliances with other warlords and regional rulers would have been easier. Alliances with resource-rich and powerful allies would have strengthened Liu Bei's position, enabling him to fight Cao and Quan more effectively. With the necessary resources, Liu Bei could have developed long-term strategies without needing to rely on others or struggle with resource shortages. This would have reduced the risk of making poor decisions and increased his chances of uniting the land. 2. Lack of decisiveness and firm leadership. Liu Bei was known for his high moral standards and compassion, qualities that earned him great respect among his followers. However, in the turbulent era of the Three Kingdoms, filled with conflict and war, these traits sometimes became a liability. Liu Bei's compassion often led to indecision in critical moments, causing him to miss important opportunities to defeat his enemies or strengthen his own power. One clear example of this was his failure to decisively punish Quan after his defeat at the hands of Quan, which led to the loss of Jingzhou. Liu Bei's hesitation to act decisively eroded the confidence of his troops and allowed his enemies to perceive him as weak in dealing with internal issues. In an era as chaotic as the Three Kingdoms, successful leaders needed to be decisive, especially in crisis situations and when executing military strategies. The ability to make firm decisions was crucial for maintaining power and ensuring the strength of the army. Liu Bei's indecision in crucial moments led to missed opportunities that could have expanded his power and territory. His reluctance to make quick, firm decisions in urgent situations often resulted in resource and manpower losses. For example, his decision to wage war against Eastern Wu after Guan Yu's death, driven by anger and grief, not only depleted his resources but also led to his own death, weakening his kingdom significantly. When compared to Cao, the leader of Wei, who was known for his decisiveness and clear strategies, Liu Bei's hesitance becomes even more apparent. Cao was able to make quick decisions in crises and dealt with enemies and internal issues without hesitation, allowing him to control most of China. In contrast, Liu Bei often hesitated and failed to fully capitalize on the opportunities before him. 3. Insufficient manpower and resources. Even though Liu Bei had talented supporters like Zhuge Liang, his brilliant strategist, the success of a kingdom required more than just a few capable individuals. Liu Bei's army was constantly short of essential resources such as manpower, territory, and economic assets. In contrast, Cao Cao's Wei controlled vast, fertile lands with a large population, while Sun Quan's had a prosperous coastal region that generated significant income through trade. Liu Bei's Shuhan was unable to sustain its power long-term, as it was continually pressured by its two stronger rivals. Despite Zhu Ziliang's genius, he could not compensate for the lack of resources necessary to rival Wei or Wu. In the Three Kingdoms era, having enough manpower and resources was crucial for success in both warfare and governance. Manpower. Liu Bei's army was significantly smaller compared to those of Cao Cao and Sun Quan. Cao Cao's Wei, located in northern China, had a large population and fertile lands, making it easy to recruit and maintain a large army. Sun Quan's Wu, although smaller in size, had a stable population and a strong navy. Liu Bei initially had to rely on followers who believed in him, especially his sworn brothers, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei. Although Liu Bei had highly skilled supporters, he lacked the large numbers of soldiers needed for large-scale warfare. Economic resources. Cao Cao and Sun Quan both controlled far stronger economies than Liu Bei. Cao Cao's territory included highly productive agricultural land in the north, which provided a steady food supply and supported a large population. Additionally, Cao Cao had access to natural resources needed for making weapons and other military supplies. Sun Quan's Wu benefited from its control of key waterways and access to the sea, allowing him to generate income through trade and secure control over important trade routes. The wealth generated from trade helped Sun Quan strengthen his military and govern his kingdom effectively. In contrast, Liu Bei struggled with resource shortages. The lands he controlled were often underdeveloped, requiring significant time and effort to cultivate. This meant Liu Bei could not fully utilize the resources he had, leading to supply shortages in his army. These shortages put him at a disadvantage when fighting against Cao Cao and Sun Quan. Support from powerful figures. Both Cao Cao and Sun Quan received support from powerful local figures and influential nobles, which helped them solidify their power bases. Cao Cao was able to gather many capable officials and warlords to his side by offering them benefits and security. Although Liu Bei had Zhu Ziliang and other talented individuals on his side, he lacked sufficient support from local nobles and powerful figures to build a strong power base. As a result, Liu Bei had to work harder to gather followers and build power from the ground up, a difficult and time-consuming task. The lack of sufficient manpower and resources was a major disadvantage for Liu Bei, putting him at a significant disadvantage compared to Cao Cao and Sun Quan, while his rivals were able to quickly build power and expand their territories. Liu Bei struggled to gather enough resources and manpower to fully challenge his enemies, ultimately preventing him from uniting the land. 4. Mistakes in warfare. Liu Bei was a determined and well-intentioned leader, but sometimes his determination led him to make mistakes, particularly in warfare, where careful planning and strategy were crucial. One of Liu Bei's most significant mistakes was launching a campaign against Eastern Wu after the death of Guan Yu. His anger and grief over the loss of his sworn brother drove him to seek revenge through war, a decision that led to significant losses in both resources and manpower and ultimately to his own death. This mistake weakened Shuhan considerably and was a key reason why Liu Bei failed to unite the land. 5. Lack of a capable successor. After Liu Bei's death, his son Liu Shan took over as ruler. Although Liu Shan had good intentions and tried to continue his father's vision, he lacked the skills needed to govern and manage the kingdom effectively. Liu Shan did not have the military or administrative abilities required to maintain power and fend off attacks from enemies. This led to the gradual weakening of Shuhan. Compared to the leaders of Wei and Wu, Liu Shan was seen as a weak leader, and eventually, Shuhan was defeated and absorbed by Wei into 63 AD. Liu Bei was a well-intentioned and determined leader who aimed to unite the land and restore the Han dynasty. However, his difficult start, lack of decisiveness in critical moments, insufficient resources and support, mistakes in warfare, and the lack of a capable successor were all factors that prevented him from achieving his goal. If Liu Bei had handed over complete control of his kingdom and governance to Zhu Ziliang, the chances of Shuhan winning the Three Kingdoms War could have increased. However, this shift in power wouldn't guarantee Shuhan's ultimate victory, as several critical factors would need to be considered. 1. Zhu Ziliang's capabilities. Zhu Ziliang was a highly talented strategist, diplomat, and administrator whom Liu Bei deeply trusted. If Zhu Ziliang had taken full control as the leader, he might have steered the kingdom in a better direction, implementing more effective and stringent policies. However, while Zhu Ziliang excelled as an advisor and military strategist, ruling a kingdom as the supreme leader would have posed new challenges. Leadership requires a different set of skills, including maintaining order, managing day-to-day governance, and making difficult decisions that may not always align with strategic planning. 2. Trust and support from nobles and the public. Although Zhu Ziliang was respected by Shu Han's nobles and military, the sudden change in leadership might have led to uncertainty and internal conflict. Some nobles might not have accepted the transition, viewing Zhu Ziliang merely as an advisor rather than a natural-born leader. It would have been crucial for Zhu Ziliang to gain the full trust and acceptance of both the nobility and the common people to maintain stability in the kingdom. Without their support, his ability to govern effectively would be severely hampered. 3. Dealing with external enemies. If Zhu Ziliang had full control, he might have crafted more effective military strategies. However, defeating powerful enemies like Cao Cao and Sun Quan would still have been difficult, as both Wei and Wu possessed more significant resources and manpower. Zhu Ziliang's strategic brilliance could only go so far if Shu Han continued to face shortages in resources and lacked the strong military force necessary for large-scale victories. The disparity in strength would have remained a considerable obstacle, even under Zhu Ziliang's leadership. 4. Challenges in strategy and diplomacy. Successfully unifying China during the Three Kingdoms era required not just military prowess but also strategic diplomacy. Zhu Ziliang had proven his abilities in these areas, but he would have faced formidable challenges from equally capable adversaries. Maintaining alliances and dealing with enemies on multiple fronts demanded careful and decisive actions. Although Zhu Ziliang was skilled, the complexities of the era meant that there were no guarantees he could overcome every obstacle. Even the best-laid plans could be derailed by unforeseen events, internal dissent, or the sheer strength of opposing forces.